Hello everyone, welcome to the second lecture of Structural Design 1 subject. I am Sudhir Gaike, Assistant Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, Sanjeevani College of Engineering, Kopargaon. In last video, we have seen Introduction to Steel Structures, comparison of steel and concrete construction, properties of steel as a construction material, and various rolled steel sections available based on the structural and non-structural use. In this video, we will cover stress strain curve, design philosophies, classification of cross section, and type of steel structures. So here in photographs you will get idea of different steel structure and its uniqueness. For many large span members, concrete becomes uneconomical and the cross section design using concrete as a material which is of heavy cross sectional area and which is disadvantageous. Therefore, steel is the better choice to select, having lesser weight to strength ratio, and it can show certain deformation which is a warning to the user. So for example, in the very first photograph, industrial building is shown. So this industrial building may be a temporary or permanent type of structure where connection of your truss components is connected with columns and column to the basis. Certain roofing material is also used, that may be asbestos sheet or it may be steel sheets. Second example is of high-rise building skeleton. So here high-rise building is usually the frames of high-rise building is usually constructed using steel as a material. In the third photograph, it is transmission towers. Transmission towers, this is a regular figure you must have seen or photograph you have seen, where transmission tower, telephone towers or observational towers are usually constructed using steel as a material. So here angular sections are used with a triangular form of geometry, and combination of this triangular form of geometry is forming one complete truss. The next example is of bridge structures. So here again large spans are possible in case of bridge structure where concrete may become uneconomical. Next figure is created with your stadium. So this is the world's famous stadium from China, a bird's nest. Again, next example we have seen that is related with your fluids and gas tanks. So as we have seen the advantage of steel as a building material, it is having greater amount of density, and because of density water tightness or gas tightness is there, and this is advantageous compared with other structure. Usually many transportation is usually done with the help of the steel tanks only, having petroleum or gas type of transportation. So these are the few examples. Now next we are going to see stress strain curve for mild steel. So in the figure, horizontal x-axis is representing strain elongation and vertical y-axis is representing stress values. This is mild steel tested under gradually applied load in universal testing machine. Stress strain curve for mild steel. So here this particular figure is showing us the path of stress and strain values. Curve OABCDEF represent stress strain curve of mild steel tested in universal testing machine with gradually increasing tensile load. So in the figure, the initial portion of graph is OAB. It is a straight line and it is giving us or obeying Hooke's law, that is stress is directly proportional to strain value. Here A point is showing us limit of proportionality, that is where linear variation ends. So in short, OA is a straight line and after A point there may be variation in the proportionality. Then B point represents maximum stress up to which specimen can regain its original shape, that is B point given in the diagram. Then C dash and C are the upper and lower yield point. OC represents material is elastic, so up to O point to C point it is elastic material as per consideration, and that region is divided as elastic region and some of the portion is coming under plastic region. In case of CD point, it is a plastic yielding region. So here you can observe that C is a complete straight line where only there is increase in strain without increase in any kind of stress value. The portion DE is a strain hardening region. Portion DE is a strain hardening region. So here additional stresses are produced with additional strain. Strain increases faster with stress and still ultimate load is reached. So that is up to point E. Now E represents the ultimate stress value where the reduction of cross section or necking formation is done. Already this particular practical you have covered at your second year. The last portion in the diagram, that is EF, that represent post ultimate stress region. Here stress falls rapidly with increase in strain and the specimen breaks. So the last point, EF point, that is your breaking stress. So as per this particular diagram, our observation should be the figure is divided into four basic categories or classes. So that is elastic region, plastic region, strain hardening region, and post ultimate strain region. So our design philosophies are based on these particular regions only. That is going to be our next point. So design philosophies. The first design philosophy is working stress method, also denoted as WSM, and this is based on the first portion of your graph, that is elastic region. So in this method, it is assuming that structural material is behaving in a linearly elastic manner and safety is assured by restricting the stresses. So in case of this method, certain factor of safeties are used, and these factor of safeties are divided to your yield stress value. And here the cross section design using working stress method are somewhat of larger area, and therefore this method becomes disadvantageous as partial safety factor yield stress and a factor of safety is applied only to calculate your strength values. Now in case of second method, ultimate load method, this is based on your plastic region or second portion of your stress strain diagram. So in this method, design failure implies collapse or extremely large deformations. In working loads are multiplied by load factor, and the cross section of the member are designed on collapse strength. So here two different variation you need to understand. In case of first method, factor of safety is utilized for material strength calculation, and in case of second, load factors are multiplied to the calculating your maximum or ultimate load. So when entire cross section becomes plastic, infinite rotation takes place and plastic hinges are formed at maximum stressed locations, and a collapse mechanism is formed. So in such second method of your design, we are not getting any kind of warning before the failure. So the both method, working stress method and ultimate load method, was having certain disadvantages, and therefore we have combined both the methods and form the third method, that is combination of first one. It is called as limit state method, and this is based on the third portion of your stress strain diagram, that is strain hardening region. So here partial safety factors are usually utilized for calculating maximum loads as well as calculating your design strength. So this method is a combination of first two, that is ultimate load method and working stress method. The acceptable limit of safety and serviceability requirement before failure occurs is known as limit state. So the probability to reach limit state during the lifetime should be minimum. So here two types of clauses we are going to refer as per IS 800/2007. So that is clause number 5221, page number 28, and again clause number 5.2.2.2, that is limit state of strength and limit state of serviceability. So working stress method was related with only strength, and the second limit state of serviceability and strength both are generally adapted in case of your limit state method. So limit state of serviceability as per that clause, page number 28, deformation and deflection which may adversely affect the appearance or effective use of structure, damage to the finishes or non-structural member. And this method partial safety factors are to be adapted for loads as well as partial safety factor is to be adapted for strength calculation. So both the tables are given. So on table number 4 on page number 29, that is for material, and again gamma f value, that is for loads, that is which is given on page number 30. So here is one correction, that is table number 5. You can see that. So by referring these tables, we are going to add up these partial safety factors for calculating design strength as well as design loads. Now next point, classification of cross section. So here horizontal axis is generally showing us curvature rotation, and vertical axis is showing us the movement capacity of any cross section. So usually in concrete structure, a cross section is a complete solid section, while in case of steel section it is combination of different elements. For example, if it is a I section, it is combination of flange plates and web plate. So here when load is acting on this particular cross section, initially the load is going to act individually on each element. So there may be certain local buckling of individual element, and therefore classification of cross section is required before selecting any section. So here in the figure you can see four types of classes or four types of cross sections are shown. The first type or class one is the plastic section, second is your compact section, third is your semi compact section, and fourth is your slender sections. Fourth is your slender section. And along with the four types of classes, bending stress distribution is also shown. So bending stress distribution for plastic type of section and compact section is rectangular type, while in case of for semi compact and slender it is triangular type. So initially for the first type, that is plastic type of section, it is having maximum movement taking capacity, simultaneously it is having certain rotation capacity also. Now this rotation capacity is forming a hinge at the location load location point, and infinite rotations are going to take, and there will be certain warning so that the user in particular building or in particular structure can evacuate from that particular location. In case of second section, that is compact one, it is having capacity to take plastic movement or maximum movement, but it does not have any kind of rotational capacity. So here for second cross section we are not going to get any kind of warning. In case of third category, that particular cross section, that is semi compact, which is going to fail at yield point only. So it is only going to give us yield moment of capacity without any kind of rotation. And the last category, that is slender type of section, these particular sections even does not go up to yield type of movement capacity. So the failure of yield kind of movement capacity in case of slender section is even lesser than yield point. So in this particular figure you will get idea regarding the cross sectional behavior. Two cross sections, box column is shown, and I section consisting combination of plates. So here when load is applied on the periphery or cross sectional area, entire box section is going to come into picture, while in case of steel section only there will be load applied initially on the flanges, then on the web, and then on the bottom type of flanges. So individually each element is going to take the load. So for determining strength of structural steel component, designer requires to understand the cross sectional behavior. So the cross sectional behavior for steel structure is according to plate elements, and in case of concrete section it is entire cross section or solid section. So steel cross sections are made up of combination of elements which are susceptible to undergo local buckling, and therefore need to classify by limiting width to thickness ratios, and these limiting width to thickness ratios are given in table number 2 of IS 800 2007 for different elements. So based on these ratios, as we have discussed in the first graph, sections are classified as plastic or class 1, compact or class 2, semi compact or class 3, and slender or class 4. So details are given in that. Plastic section, it is having plastic movement and rotation capacity. Class 2 or compact section develops only plastic movement but no rotation is possible. For semi compact, it only reach up to yield stresses, while in case of slender or class 4 section it fails even before reaching yield stresses. Therefore the recommendation as per IS code is that only plastic and compact sections are to be utilized. So thank you. In the next lecture we'll see some of the problems related with classification of cross section. Thank you.